Okay, let's go shopping. I'm Linny, if we haven't met yet, and we soon will be meeting because we'll be playing together. So one full cabbage. That obviously is only a half, but you'll need two halves. We'll be using a half and then 2/4. Just in case if you can only get a half and then you get 2/4, if they're different colours, it doesn't matter. So one full cabbage, some salt. Now the best salt that I find that I've used for many years, I mean salt is salt, but salt plays a very big part in fermentation, is the Himalayan fine pink salt. So if you can get some of that, because we'll be using lots of it. Seaweed. Now you can buy dried seaweed if you've got fresh, that's fine, but dried is fine. I love the dulce. That's like the little purple seaweed. Kelp is also very good. I actually put the kelp into my fine Himalayan pink salt. So that in there has the dried kelp. You'll see that through there. Not necessary, but if you can get some seaweed, that shall be very good. The dulce is the purple, as I said, seaweed, and it doesn't leave any fishy seed sort of taste. It's very neutral in flavour, extremely good for you. So seaweed, cabbage, salt. What else do we have? This is our very first day. If we can get some beets, don't need a lot, say 3 or 4. If they're big size ones, 3. If they're small, probably 4. We call them beetroot here in Australia, but a lot of people know them as beets. Along with those beets, what we would like to use is a little tiny piece of turmeric and some ginger. We will be using it for others, so you don't need to buy that specifically just for this because we will come into that in a moment. But yeah, we'll need ginger, turmeric, beets. We're going to have the cabbage, a daikon radish. If you're not familiar with those, that's a daikon. That's very neutral in flavour. You'll be getting to know this because this goes into a lot of ferments. This is the vegetable that counteracts any yeastiness. So if you're making a really sweet ferment like a carrot, this is always its perfect partner. So you'll get to know this. If you can't get them wherever you are, don't panic with any of these. Do send me a message if there's anything that's just not available, if you're not growing it or it's not in your local markets or you can't buy it at the supermarket or whatever your organic shop or your local produce store. Just let me know and I'll tell you what you can substitute or you can leave out. But if you can get one big one, they're normally big, that will be fine, or just 2 small, that's your daikon radish. 1 leek. This is a leek, you'll know what a leek is. We're going to use the whole lot, the green and all. So if you get one with a little bit of green, that's good. If you can only get that end part, that's okay too. But just 1 leek. If you have some lemongrass, I'm in the tropics, so we have lemongrass growing wild because it's a grass, so it grows just like a wild weed. But if you don't have lemongrass, it's no problems. Some of the Asian stores that you go to, you'll find that you can get little trays of lemongrass and they even have the nice little root parts at the bottom. That would be really good, but if you can't get it, we can leave it out. But lemongrass, if you can get some lemongrass, that will be just perfect. So that's really the first day. So we'll go in, and if we can fit this in, we will, otherwise it'll go to the second day. But we'll have to do a bit of pre-prep, and I'll let you know what we'll be doing for our pre-prep so that we can all just get in and get it done and have it all there for you, for your goodness. So we'll need ginger. Look at that, I grow that. Isn't that beautiful? It smells so fresh and it's got that lovely pink tinge. But yeah, but if you can't grow it, if you don't grow it or you're not in an area that has ginger, you can certainly just use turmeric. But we're going to use ginger and turmeric together. This is a real kitchen wow factor, this one. You'll be getting lots of ways how to use it. But so, as much as you can get. Now we'll talk about the jars in a moment, but that's your ginger and your turmeric. What needs to go with the ginger and turmeric is lime or lemon juice. So we're going to use enough to cover. It'll depend on the size jar and we will discuss that. So if you get lemons, just a couple of lemons, enough to cover it, and some limes if you can't, whichever one you prefer. We grow both, so we don't have any problems. And it's the season at the moment. If you have it growing or you go to a local growers If you can get some of the outside, the leaves that come off the tree, especially these ones, the lime leaves, have some of those too. If not, we'll use a proper weight. So that's no drama. So we've done the cabbage that we're going to make into 3 different dishes, the ginger and the turmeric. So we'll go on to the next day when we're going to make the amazing kimchi. So kimchi, we need a different sort of cabbage, a soft leaf cabbage. Here in Australia, we call them wombok. They're really known as like an Asian cabbage. So that's it there, and we'll need one of those. Not a real big one, just like that size is perfect. You can get that size wombok. That'll be really lovely. Those are that's what's going with the wombok, and we're also going to use some of that with the beet. So it's sort of like, not too confusing here. I will be giving you a more detailed list, but this is just good so that you can see what I'm actually talking about. Then we need some chili paste. Now, if you're a DIYer and you have to do everything from scratch, I can give you a recipe that you can make beforehand so that you've got your own. It's like a rice paste that has chili in it that you can use in your kimchi, or you can just go and buy one, which you can get. This one's come from a Korean store. As that, I hope you can see that there. It's just, you'll get them in mild chili or really strong hot chili. I like just the mild chili, and when I make my paste, I only make it quite mild because the flavours, it's hot enough for my taste buds. So yeah, so you can get that little container of that, which is like just your chili paste. You pick that up at any Asian stores, even some of here, a lot of the supermarkets sell it, and so do like the organic stores. If you have got, like this came from our local Korean store, so that's it there, that's your paste. So you'll definitely need the paste, you have to have the paste. So that's really our list. So now we'll go into the bottles, the jars. I like Fido, which is an Italian jar, but there's plenty around. I know the American jars, the mason jars. Now, we have to be a little bit careful when we talk about mason jars, because people will always say, don't use mason jars. But mason do make a beautiful fermenting jar, but it must have that. That's what we need. We need that to make it oxygen-free, to keep out all the air. The original mason jar that has that metal lid, and some of them now have plastic lids on top, they are a no-no, because the metal lids, they are designed for when you do that. You remember the old fowler cola that, you know, where you heated up your vegetables and you sterilise the jar and you put them in there, and it needed heat. It had to go into that container. It needed the heat to expand, to shut the lid tight. So we don't want to do that. We're not doing any of that. So these are the jars that you have to get. So you can get, you can buy them online, you can buy them at kitchen stores. There's a lot of places that have them for great prices. You can even pick them up at yard sales and places like that. If you get them and they are secondhand and they don't sort of seal too well, like all these ones have a beautiful seal, but if they don't seal too tight, well, what we do is we double seal them. And you can buy these little bags of these little fellas. You can get those anywhere. And so you would put, if you're picking up some that somebody has already used and they just don't seal tight, you'll put 2 of those on there. So these are very important. Our containers are so important. We must have the right containers. We don't need any of these fancy silicone lids or pop-up things or anything like this. This is all we need. When we progress further and we go into making things in crocks, we still always need these to take it from the crock, to put it into that, to store it in the refrigerator. But we're starting nice and slow, so we need to have these. Now, size-wise, when we start with the cabbage and the seaweed, we need one 1 litre bottle. So that's a 1 litre. That's my Fido. That's, as I said, that's Fido, and that comes from Italy. So 1 litre for the start of the cabbage. Then the 2 gut-loving tonics that we're going to make, which is really the medicines in a jar. We need like a 1.5 litre for those, which is good. If you can't get a 1.5 litre, a 1 litre is fine. So in that case, you'd be using 3 1 litre jars, but preferably 1 1 litre and 2 1.5 or 2 2 litre jars. That's a 2 litre one. So, there's quite a bit of difference there because we're going to strain it off. We're going to use the liquid, and we'll be using a lot of that as time goes on. So it's good to have that supply of it in your fridge. So there we go. Then we go into the ginger and the turmeric. Now, depending on how much ginger and turmeric that you get hold of, if you only get a small amount, you only need a little 250 jar like that. That's a little Fido one. They brought out red ones for Christmas one year. That's horseradish in there. Look at that. Look at how it's beautiful and cloudy. It's beautiful, lovely and warming on the tum-tum. It's very good. The horseradish was made they use it overseas in European countries. They always combine it with those really fatty pork roasts because that counteracts out the fat. So that's beautiful, and horseradish is beautiful too. So this one here is a 500 ml jar, and that's the preferable size for doing the ginger and the turmeric if you've got that nice quantity of it. But like I said, oh, this just smells so beautiful. They're my chilies from my garden, and from there I then make that into sauce and paste and all sorts of things. We'll be doing all those as well, but not this time, no chilies this time. That is a proper glass Dunkel weight. You can get those in little packets of 4s. Not necessary. You can use like leaves and things, and you get the aromatics from the leaves as well. But if you can grab just a couple of those little weights, or you might just have a nice little glass, little jar lid, or what else could you use? You could use a little jar, but it's got to fit in there. So we just want to use a little bit of space for there. So if you can grab a couple of glass weights, that would be really good, because that's going to keep it under the brine. If you keep everything under the brine, everything will always be fine. Oh, do you smell beautiful? You've been out for a long time too, but oh, you're lovely. So there, that's what we need. A couple of dunkers. I always call them dunkers, so they're going to go like that. So they're good to have because you'll always be using them. So you've got your list, you've got your ingredients, and there's one other thing that I left off the list was water. We need some water. We're going to make just a plain old brine with the cabbage for when we're making the medicine in a jar. You can use herbal brews and things like that, but we're going to keep it pretty simple to start with. So this is just spring water. I don't like using plastic bottles. I actually have my own water out the back, but I'm just putting this here so that you can see what I'm talking about. We do not ever use tap water. No water that has chlorine or any nasties in it, because it's going to upset the microbial balance, and we want to do it correctly. We want to do it the right way. So with your water, that will depend on whether you get a 1.5 litre or a 1 litre bottle. So if you've got a couple of like just a 2 litre bottle of water, just have that there. You're not going to run out of anything. I'll make sure that they're all done for you, that everything is done to beautiful taste and beautiful gut loving. So that's really all our list, and I will see you very shortly. The time's ticked up and I'm